So Windows 10 is ending soon in October 2025. Can Linux save these old PCs? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this is a Lenovo ThinkCentre. I picked this up from Craigslist not too long ago, only for 20 bucks. It's pretty old, but still very capable machine. It came with a 4th gen i5. I did a video where I did some upgrades, including upgrading the processor and the GPU. I was pretty happy with the results, but the problem with these older machines is they will not officially support Windows 10 starting in October of 2025. Microsoft will not be giving Windows 10 any more security updates after that date. Microsoft actually suggests that you get a new PC, which is absolutely ridiculous. So there are a few options that you have with old PCs like this. You can keep using Windows 10 without any security updates, which I would not recommend. You can opt in for extended security updates, but that's going to cost you 30 bucks a year. Or there are ways to install Windows 11 on unsupported hardware. And from what I hear, it's fairly easy, but I can see some users being worried that they might have issues with that down the line if they take that route. Or you can install Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC, which stands for Long-Term Service Channel, which is basically a version of Windows designed for businesses. I'm not sure if current Windows keys will work with that enterprise version. It's something I haven't tried yet, but this particular version will get further updates or further security updates from what I've heard. And the last thing you can do when Windows 10 officially ends is install a Linux operating system, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with this Lenovo ThinkCentre. I'm going to try to install linuxmint on this. So there are tons of different Linux distros to try, but Mint is one of the most popular ones, probably because it looks so similar to Windows. Alright, so to install Linux Mint, I'm going to need to create a bootable USB flash drive. I'm going to be using this ThinkPad to create that bootable flash drive, and I'm going to be using one of these flash drives that I have lying around. I have a few of these. If you don't have any, they are pretty cheap. Just pick one up on Amazon or Newegg, and again, they don't cost a lot of money. First thing I'm going to do is head over to the official Linux Mint website. Now here you can find all the info you want on Linux Mint. You'll see also that there are 3 main versions. You got Cinnamon, which they describe as their most full-featured desktop. There's Mate, which is a more traditional desktop, maybe not all the features that you have in Cinnamon. And the XFCE version. Now that's the most lightweight version. So if you have a very, very old processor or not much RAM, you would probably want to try that version. So the Linux Mint website has an easy guide that shows you how to create a bootable drive. I'm using a Windows laptop, so I'm going to be using a program called Balena Etcher. There is a link on the Mint website to download it directly. Then what you want to do is download the Linux Mint ISO file. Okay, so I tried to flash the OS using Etcher, but I ran into an issue. Basically, when I tried to add the ISO in the very first step here, it simply wasn't working. It just wasn't showing up. Not sure why this was happening at all. I did try it several times, but no luck whatsoever. So after not getting Etcher to work, I tried a different program called Rufus, and that worked without any issues. And now that I got the boot drive all set up, I plugged it into the ThinkCentre, and when I powered on the PC, I hit the F12 key to change which drive the PC would boot from. Basically just selected that USB drive, and I was good to go. And the first thing you're going to see is this menu, and I'm just going to hit this first option to start Linux Mint. And just be patient here. You're going to see a black screen here. Just let it do its thing. It's going to take a few seconds, maybe 15 to 20, maybe 25 seconds. And you should see the Linux Mint logo. There you go. So it's going to boot into Linux Mint. It's just going to take a few minutes. This is the first time it's booting into Linux Mint. So I'm just fast forwarding this part right here, but it does take about 35 seconds, at least in what I experienced, for the Linux Mint desktop to show up like this. Again, 35 seconds. So now Mint is just running from the USB flash drive, so I can test it out now, make sure it's running smoothly before installing it on the main hard drive of the PC. And when I do want to do that, I would just select here on the top left where it says install Linux Mint to do just that. But I'm not going to do that right now. Right now I'm just going to test out a few things, make sure everything is running smoothly. And first thing I want to do is I'm going to change the wallpaper here of the desktop. And to do that, I'm just going to go into System Settings. And let's see if we can find this here. There we go. So by clicking here, I can change, some of the wallpapers. So I want to change it to one of these all green wallpapers. But, do have some other options here as well. So, we'll just click this one for now. We'll use this one. And Mint comes with its own version of Microsoft Office. It's actually called LibreOffice. So what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to start a Word document real quick, just to show how easy it is. Obviously this is very straightforward, very easy to do. But basically just showing you that, anything you can do in Windows, you could also do in Linux, or most things. And another thing you will notice is the folder system is very, very similar to, a Windows experience. You have your documents, your downloads, your music, your pictures and videos, all at your fingertips here. Looks very, very similar to Windows. So if you're coming from Windows, the transition to Linux Mint should be very easy. So this comes pre-installed with Firefox as the web browser. So let's open up Firefox and try to browse the web and see how easy it is to use. All right, looks like we are up and running, and let's just get rid of some of these sponsored shortcuts here. H&R Block, let's just dismiss that. And it's funny how this is still calling X Twitter, or Twitter is now X or whatever. But here's Amazon. You see how quickly that loaded up? So, pretty quick so far. Let's, kind of search for something here. Let's look for bestsellers. Yeah, this is very snappy, very quick. All right, now let's try a website with a lot going on. Let's try the good old NewYorkMets.com or Mets.com. And as you can see, there's a lot of images going on here, a lot going on with the background as well. And it loaded up really, really quick, no problems whatsoever. It's always a good sign. All right, let's try another website in a different tab. Let's try nasa.gov. Yep, loaded up really quick, very responsive. You can go back and forth between the tabs, no problem. All right, now let's head over to YouTube and try to play a video real quick. And as you can see, no issues whatsoever playing YouTube videos. And another thing I wanted to mention is the software manager option here. And this is basically like, their little app store for Linux Mint. You could download VLC, you could download Steam, you could download RetroArch, or you could download Spotify. OBS Studio is here. So, if you have an older PC like this Lenovo ThinkCentre, and all you want to do is check your email, maybe do a Word document here and there, and basically browse the web, watch YouTube videos, Netflix, stuff like that, Linux Mint will be totally fine. As far as gaming goes, here's this funny little volleyball game I found. You can install Steam, as I said before, and you could do retro gaming on this, as well. But if you really want a game, you probably want to stick with a Windows setup for sure. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. If you have an older PC that isn't going to be supported for Windows 11, let me know what your plan is. Are you going to switch it to Linux? Are you going to like just stick to Windows? Are you going to, just kind of bypass those requirements and still install or try to install Windows 11? Let me know in the comments below. I'm kind of curious what people are going to end up doing. Before you know it, it will be October, and Windows 10 end of life will be here. All right, so please hit that like and subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.